Podcasting. It feels like everyone has one these days. But in 2024, is it still worth starting your own, or is the space already too crowded? Stick around, because today I'm breaking down the state of podcasting, what you need to know, and whether you should dive in this year. My name is Ludwig, and I run one of the biggest podcasts in Denmark, and I've been producing podcasts professionally for the past 5 years. My own podcast for clients, private individuals, and companies. The state of the podcast industry in 2024. Let's start with the big picture. The podcasting industry is still booming. In 2024, there are over 504 million global podcast listeners. That's a significant jump from the 464 million listeners we saw in 2023. The market itself is expected to be worth around 30 billion by the end of the year. 30 billion! This growth is largely driven by the accessibility of podcasts. They're easy to listen to while driving, working out, or just chilling at home. Why you should start a podcast in 2024. First, low barrier to entry. You don't need a fancy studio. A decent microphone and some basic editing software can get you started. Plus, with AI tools, editing and promoting your podcast is easier than ever. Secondly, podcasts are an incredible way to build a personal connection with your audience. Studies show that 64% of people find podcast hosts more trustworthy than other influencers. That kind of trust can translate into loyal followers and eventually loyal customers. Have a look at my case. I started my podcast 3 years ago. Right now, I'm totaling around 80,000 followers between platforms on social media. Denmark is a quite small country, but I'm actually reaching a state where people recognize me when I walk on the street. So if you keep at it, podcasting can really create a personal brand. The challenges of starting a podcast. Let's be real, it's not all sunshine and downloads. There are definitely some challenges. Number 1, building an audience. With over 4 million podcasts available, it's tough to stand out. You have to think strategically about your niche and how to market your content. Number 2, time commitment. Podcasting isn't just pressing record. You need to plan, you need to record, edit, invite guests, promote episodes, etc. Plus, consistency is key. So if you're not releasing episodes regularly, it's hard to keep listeners engaged. And lastly, monetization reality. While some shows make millions, many podcasts won't see substantial revenue for a while. So please bear in mind, you need to manage your expectations from the get-go. Trends and innovation in podcasting for 2024. First, of course, we got AI in podcasting. AI tools can now help with everything from editing your audio to generating show notes and even creating personalized episodes recommendations for listeners. 45 million Americans are already engaging with AI-driven podcast features. Then, of course, there's the rise of video podcasts. With platforms like YouTube prioritizing video content, more podcasters are adding visual components. It's not just about being heard, it's about being seen. And I must say, if you really want to stand out as a podcaster, you need to bring video into your podcast. The only reason I've seen this growth that I've been getting from my own podcast is because of the video content. I use the short form reels that I edit to engage new listeners and gather new followers. Lastly, there's a move towards hyper-focused niche content. As competition grows, having a specific niche makes it easier to find your audience and stand out. And this is the pro tip of the video. And here's one of the most important things about starting a podcast. You have to bring your own personality forward. In a world where there are millions of podcasts, the one thing no one else can replicate is you. Think about it. There could be hundreds of shows discussing the same topic, but what makes one stand out over another? It's the host's unique voice, your perspective, and your authenticity. Whether you're introverted, extroverted, serious, silly, lean into what you are. Your audience isn't just listening for the content, they're tuning in because they connect with you as a person and as a host. When you embrace your quirks and share personal stories, you create a more relatable experience for your listeners. This builds trust and loyalty. People can get information anywhere, but they come back to podcasts because they like how you present it, not just what you present. And here's the beauty. No one can copy your authenticity. Competitors can try to mimic your format or topics, but your personality is your superpower. It's what turns casual listeners into devoted fans. And trust me on this, I've been through it myself. So don't be afraid to be yourself. That's your best chance at making your podcast truly stand out in 2024. So who should start a podcast? Let's talk about who should and shouldn't start a podcast in 2024. You should start a podcast if you have a clear niche and passion for storytelling, or if you have a company where you, for example, need to lead generate. Actually, what I used to say to my clients and the people that are signing up for my courses is that podcasting is the best business card that you can present to someone. Let's imagine that you have a client that you want to close, and you invite that client in for a podcast. Here you will be getting a 1.5 hour maybe private time with that person where you can tell your story, get to know their story, and they can get a feel for who you are and what your business does. But let's not forget, podcasting works best for those who genuinely want to connect with an audience over a specific topic. But if you're just looking for quick fame or think it's an easy path to cash, it might not be the right time. It takes consistency and a long-term commitment to see results with podcasting. So should you start a podcast in 2024? If you've got the passion, the drive, and you're ready to put in the work, absolutely. The industry is growing, and there is still plenty of room for new voices. But go into it with the right mindset. Let me know in the comments, what would your podcast be about? And let me know if you found this video inspiring and helpful. If you want to learn from me and get a one-on-one, go to podcast.io and sign up. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content like this. See you.